Morning to everyone out there. Welcome to Wingate Park for the semi-finals of the ladies and men's pairs on this quite chilly, not very cold, but chilly morning here at Wingate. Very cloudy. We can't see the sun. And welcome to my co-commentator, Bobby, who's just getting ready. We're on the second and final trial head of the game that we'll be bringing you this morning, which should be a humdinger. Welcome, Bob.
Good morning, Cliffy. Nice to be out here at Wingate this morning. It's as you said, it's a very chilly morning. They're expecting a maximum temperature of about 16 degrees today. There's a slight breeze blowing. The players are all geared up, and we can expect some exciting bowls this morning. The game that we are going to live stream should be an absolute cracker between the young gun Brendan Ferns and Andre Rousseau from Wingate Park. They are up against Grant George and Cyril Kruger from Kempton Park.
Sunday morning.
Watched both these pairs play yesterday afternoon, and both skips played incredibly good bowls. We have Brendan Ferns and Grant George, who were both selected for South African Masters, which was actually cancelled. So we get a game between two great champions.
Yes, Bob, just watching the trial heads, they look in top form. And you'll notice, for those of you watching out there, they've all have very extremely good deliveries. And the green seems to be running, what would you say, Bob, about 13.5?
Yes, I think at the moment it's a little bit damp. So we're probably running at about 12 at the moment, but they'll expect to speed up slightly. So we might get up to 13 seconds. The other semi-finalists, we'll update you with the scores. In the men's pairs, we have Mike O'Connor Sr., who's playing against Niksha Ben-Gurik and his partner Peter Fourie.
Nico also had a good run in this tournament, Bobby. He did well in the singles. I know he beat my teammate Heinz Schlesser.
Yeah, Niksha has had an incredible year. As we know, Niksha won the South African singles this year. And he's still relatively young as far as bowls is concerned. I've known Niksha for 20 years on. And he showed a lot of promise as a young 20-year-old. Like most young players, they got interest in the business preference of a bowls nice.
I'm a good skipper. Brilliant.
He's been awarded with the South African singles title. He did incredibly well now in the BGN.
White is good.
Just changing marks there. Grant George with his beautiful smooth delivery with his blue ball coming pretty close to the jack. Runs through slightly. Brendan, how many years has he been playing, Bob?
Well, I was talking to Brendan yesterday, and he said that the first time he met me was in Cape Town in 2013. He said he had been playing bowls for 2 months, and we played against him in the national pairs. He was playing with his dad. And so that was, 8 years ago. So he's been around for 8 years. He's still a young bowler. He's 22, 23 years old. So he started at a very young age. And he's got a lot of talent, really has. And we're expecting a great things from him in the future.
Be interesting to see what length they play on the screen.
I think both players, from past experiences, Brendan and Grant George, they do prefer a shorter end. I see quite a few of the games Brendan's lead, Andre, has been bringing the mat up early on in the game, and that seems to be their game plan.
That's two down.
It'll be interesting to see
Don't
what
see the ball
option
there.
they apply this morning.
No.
Right, and we're away.
Met up slightly.
It wasn't a very good start from Sarl. He tried to throw a long head and the jack came down with a bit of speed. Maybe a bit of nerves early on.
Gauteng, 3 down, but all 3 can go next.
I suspect Andre will go back to the normal shorter head that he enjoys. On the rink next door, they're playing the first head with Niksha and Mike O'Connor, and Niksha's had 3 runs at the head.
He took out 2 bowls.
So it's not a good start to when you start having runs so early on in the game.
I agree with you, Bob. I've often heard great players say for the first 2 or 3 heads they prefer not to have any run.
You need to settle down and try and get your weight early on in the game. You know, some players do try and intimidate opposition by having a run in the first head or 2. It's a sort of a tactic that they do use. I wouldn't say it's a really wise tactic, because when you have to try and draw, you might lose your weight slightly later on in the game. Well, that was interesting.
Long head.
Andre Rousseau brought the mat up probably an extra 2 meters, and then he threw a long head as well. That's very interesting.
Come on.
Meter short.
Yeah, well, both leads still trying to find the range. You can expect as the game develops, players will start getting a bit closer to the jack.
Well, it's good, eh?
Nip the grass there. Pretty good weight.
Andre Rousseau and Brandon Ferns won the South African pairs together 2 years ago. So they're a really good combination. They will be family one of these days. Andre Rousseau expected to be Brendan Fern's father-in-law in a couple of years' time. Brandon Ferns is going out with Marizal, who's Andre's daughter. And Marizal is doing incredibly well. She's in the final of the ladies singles, which will be shown later on today as well. So that's a very good week for the Fernses and the Rousseaus. A very good draw there from Sarl.
Yeah.
Jack level.
Pretty good start from these leads. Normally looser than this on the first head, but for the listeners, the watchers out there, pairs used to be 4 bowls. This tournament is 3 bowls. Bob makes it a much harder game, I think.
Incredibly difficult with 3 bowls. You know, if you go down as a skip and you're 2 or 3 down, that first ball of yours has to count. If it doesn't count, you get yourself under huge pressure, and quite a few. I know Perfect Delivery, one of the sponsors, have had a promo that when you do, for policy holders, when you pick up a 6, you get paid out 750 Rand, and there's been quite a few 6s in this tournament. It's not difficult to pick up a 6, because if the leader's holding 3, the skip is under huge pressure. Grant George, he looks a little bit stiff this morning. I know he had a slight injury yesterday with his leg. So it'll be interesting to see how that...
Yeah, big 2, huh?
Big 2 meters short.
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable on the mat on the first bowl. He looked at
He's limping. His right leg seems to be dragging slightly.
That's a good tactic from Brendan, just to try and draw something close. He doesn't want to drop more than a 1 on the first end. Give away 1 on the first end is not too serious, just feeding your way into the game.
Still looks short.
Yeah, it's not a very good start from Grant George. You know, Grant George and his partner arrived late this morning. They arrived 5 minutes before the game. They looked under pressure when they got here, and that's not a good way to start the game off.
He doesn't look comfortable at all.
No, at all.
Ferns very smooth delivery, playing the forehand.
I think he's got the backhand this time. He's playing the backhand. And he's found the shot bowl. He's played a great shot. Now, unfortunately, those two short bowls of Grant George's don't come into play at all. If he'd been through the head, he would have had a shot to play. But he hasn't got a bad shot. He's got to need to try and move the jack about a meter for 3 shots. But he's playing with a lot of weight.
He's watching it intently.
Well, he's actually turned Brandon in for another shot, but it's moved the jack, and I think it's still 1 to Brandon.
The ball to come.
Well, Andre is calling Brandon to draw onto his own balls to try and move the jack. I wouldn't say it's the percentage shot at this stage. It could go horribly wrong if he doesn't get the jack far enough.
Yeah, he's got two receivers at the back.
I think the correct shot will be just to try and draw on the forehand, sorry, on the backhand to the 2 back bowls.
He's on a hell of a good line.
Yeah, he's drawn it very well.
Brilliant line.
Yeah, Brandon Ferns has come out of the blocks firing. He was shot down, he's made 2 out of it. So Brandon Ferns goes 2-0 up. Grant George will be disappointed with that first end, and he's walking back very, very slowly, dragging that front leg of his.
Head down, I haven't seen
Yeah,
him do that.
he doesn't look very happy at all this morning. As I said, they arrived here, they were late this morning, and didn't get off to a good start.
Maybe he went to the physio, but he's really looking uncomfortable.
Brandon and his future father-in-law, Andre Rousseau, as we said, they won the South African Pairs 2 years ago. They won it in Pretoria, in Tshwane at Linwood Bowling Club. So they seem to do very well in BGN. They are members, this is their home club, so they do know these greens.
Very good start. Just riding through.
In the other semi-final, we also have another Wingate pair with Niksha Bengurik. In fact, if you look across the board, Wingate Park have done incredibly well in this tournament. The ladies are doing well. The ladies are in the final as well of the singles.
Wherever you stop's
They
good.
were telling me yesterday that they've got 40 provincial players in this club at Wingate Park, which is incredible. When you talk about juniors, seniors, veterans, Open A, Open B, 40 provincial players. Certainly doing something right. And they do have a lot of young players as well. A lot of young players are making their mark.
1.
Very wide ball there.
You're very good here, Paul. Yeah,
Good weight.
Sarl was playing with good weight, and both players are just struggling with the line.
Yeah.
It seemed to me when you go a little bit wide on the forehand, it's not bending. I think Andre might decide to change his hand now. Might be a better hand to play.
Very good.
He's keeping on his forehand.
You can keep it there, Paul. If you end
It
up
wasn't a
over
very
here,
good end
that's very
from
good.
Andre. It's put Brendan under pressure.
3 poorish balls there,
Yeah,
Bob.
Brendan's not showing any emotion. He's just trying to ease his way into the game, but he wouldn't be happy with those 3 balls. You know, early on in the game,
I
you
don't
need a little
mind
bit
where
of help from your
stops
lead.
at the back, that's good.
You don't want to be under too much pressure too early on in the game.
Yeah, it's always good here, but
As we said, when the skip goes down and he's 3 shots down, if your first ball is not close, put yourself under huge pressure. Well, Grant is walking down very gingerly,
come other way.
head down, doesn't look very happy. And let's have a look at Brendan. He's under pressure again, second head in a row, he's been shot down.
Number 1, but
Yeah. Definitely hanging that forehand. It was quite surprising that he threw the jack a lot shorter this head.
Brendan's got such an economical delivery, you know.
Looks very close, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, he's played a great shot again.
great shot again.
That's 2 ends in a row. He's saved Andre. That's what he's there for, the skip. Grant has just certainly overplayed that ball. I think he's looking to try and move the jack a meter or so. The weight was very good. Andre knows that the danger is behind the jack. So it's important for Brendan to try and slip the balls and get behind the jack. Dropping slightly
just slightly short. Makes it a little bit harder, but Grant's got to change. He's play the backhand, I think, with a little bit of weight. Yeah, he's playing the backhand. Brilliant. Brilliant draw here.
Well, excellent weight to move the jack. If he can move the jack with that weight, maybe even a foot or so extra weight, he could make 3 or 4 shots. Brendan will be aware of that, so it's important for Brendan to try and get behind the jack now.
What do you think he's going to play, Bob?
I think he'll keep on his forehand. He doesn't want to touch the jack on his backhand. Probably keep on the forehand, maybe add an extra yard on to try and reach the 2 back bowls.
Plays very quickly. Very good delivery. Lets the ball go close to the ground.
Yeah, he certainly has put an extra bit of weight on.
No,
he's still pulling up. So he's given Grant George a big opportunity to find the ball. If he finds the ball, he could make 3 or 4. If he finds the jack, he could make 3 or 4.
He seems to like this one.
Where has he got the weight for it, though? He hasn't got the weight.
No.
What a line to get it.
What a line.
Well, that's another one to Brendan. Grant will be very, very disappointed with that last bowl. There was nothing for short. If he had moved that jack
in for 3 or 4,
meter, even 4 feet, he had a big chance there. Well, that's 2-0 now to Brendan.
Benjurik also 2-0 up. We'll bring you the lady scores. We have a slight problem that they're going to put the names of the teams up on the board, so to make it easier for us to give you up-to-date scores. It's very difficult at the moment. We can't see.
3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3.
Slightly short ahead here.
It's a good 3/4 length for Andre. As I said earlier on, Andre is not scared to bring the mat up to change the game slightly.
Very good line here. Just that side of the green, I'm surprised they're playing it, but both sides don't seem to be bending like they should.
Seems to be go a touch wide, just hanging there.
Both playing the backhand. Both leads. This ball looks short from the hand. Yeah. Not a good opener.
Big one.
It very often happens when your skip doesn't take control of the previous end. Sometimes the lead gets a little bit deflated, and that's exactly what's happened now with Sarl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And on the other hand, Andre will be feeling hyped up now because he skipped the saved him the past 2 ends. He knows that it's important to try and build up the head for Brendan.
You try, yeah.
Very good ball here from the lead. Also hanging at head, a lot less grass, Bob, but it's still hung.
The weight is very good. Sarl.
It's obviously quite tricky, the rink.
What a good shot.
Oh, great shot here. Andre turns the ball out. Could be line 3.
It's important for Sarl to get something close now because Grant doesn't seem to be playing with confidence at this stage.
Yeah, you try again, yes, Sarl.
Sarl's brilliantly bowled.
Great shot.
Brilliant shot with 3 against.
It's a great shot. Covers the jack, and he's got the best back as well. So now it's a case of damage limitation now for Brandon. He doesn't want to do anything silly, opening it up and dropping more than a 1. The unfortunate thing is the short bowl on his forehand is probably right in his eye to try and move the bowl. So, but I think the important thing is for him to try and play the forehand, possibly get around the short bowl and come around to the back, so give himself an opportunity with the second bowl.
He's calling him the forehand.
Yeah, sometimes it's a case of damage limitation. You know, you don't want to be too clever, give away more than a 1. Yeah, I don't think Brandon could have played that ball much better than that. He's actually given himself a good opportunity now. Grant will be careful not to tap his own. Yeah, the weight's very good there from Grant, but as we said, that backhand is just holding slightly.
It's going to change hands, it looks like. No, nice play.
Andre's calling him on the same shot. Well, he's opened it up now. He's given himself a big opportunity. I think Grant, Grant can draw another shot now, sort of get his confidence going. I think Grant is a very confident type of a player. When he starts running after his bowls, then you know he's building up a lot of confidence.
Very
close. He's drawn a great shot.
Great ball, huh?
Well, that's 2 now to Grant. Now, if Brandon can play the same type of bowl that he did with his first bowl, try and reach the shot bowl. I'm just calling him on a nice draw. As he says, a nice lekker draw.
Gets it away very smoothly, economic, as you said, Bob. He seems to like it.
On the inside again.
Oh,
I think it was possibly a foot
short. I agree.
At this stage, it's 1 and a measure.
Looks like this could be second, huh? Okay.
Sarl's indicating that there might be only 1 shot. So if Grant can draw onto the shot bowl and touch the jack slightly, he could make 3.
He doesn't like it.
He hasn't delivered the bowl at all. Looks like it's only 1.
Yeah.
It's twice in a row Bobby's played short woods when he had a chance with his last ball.
Yeah, he doesn't look very comfortable. It's very gingerly this morning. He's limping a lot.
And once again, we haven't thanked our sponsors, Perfect Delivery and Academy, for the helping us with the live streaming brought to you.
That's right, né?
Sorrel's also carrying an injury from action cricket. And there's lots of limping. We've got 3 players limping. I haven't seen that in my whole bowls career.
Yeah, the bowlers must realise that bowlers are not cricketers. And sometimes you think you're a few years younger than what you are. And you start using muscles that you don't normally use. And Sorrel has also got an injury through action cricket.
We've actually got 3 limping players. It's quite unusual.
One to blue. One to blue.
Well, in the ladies, we've got Linwood, which is Marty Teron, and her partner, Miss Murray, from Linwood. They are playing against Belgravia, Carol Glanfield and Erica Binneman. At this stage, Linwood are 5-0 up after 3 ends. And in the other ladies semi-final, between Edenvale and CBC, it is Ina Ferrie and her partner, Relinda Ferrie, are playing against Gardner and Jenny Jones. The score is 2-all after 4 ends. In the men's final, in the men's semi-final, Niksha Bengurik is 3-2 up on Mike O'Connor after 4 ends. And our streaming game at the moment, we've got Brendan Ferns and Andre Rousseau. They are 3-2 up on Grant George.
And 2 pretty good woods there by Sorrel, line 2.
Well, that's from Andre Rousseau. Andre
I mean,
Rousseau has 2 shots.
A little bit.
Great wood again.
Yeah, we were watching yesterday. Andre Rousseau is one of those players who sort of eases his way into the game, you know. He doesn't panic, he's a very calm player on the green, and I think that's really good for Brendan. Sometimes Brendan can become a bit hot-headed on the green. And I think Andre Rousseau is a very calming influence on the green. And
What a great
played
shot.
a great shot.
Great shot.
Very consistent bowlers, Andre.
The last ball.
Twice that Grant's lead has played great shots in a row. 2 heads in a row, he's drawn one right on the jack.
All in the way.
Well, Grant George is under pressure now. It's basically the first time in this game where he has been under pressure, where he has been shot down. So it's up to him to come to light now. Only takes one end. Only takes one end to get your confidence back.
But why? Maybe it bent.
It's a better delivery from him. He let that go much better.
Yeah, he needs to warm up.
Oh, good weight, huh?
Well, he got a slight little rub there. He's probably still 2 down.
Very good line here. Just running out of steam and not coming back.
Yeah, as we said, a little bit wide on that end. I think he's afraid to go too narrow. He doesn't want to turn the blue ball up. If he turns the blue ball up, he could be shot down.
Didn't get down, run away nicely, Bobby.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the weight again.
Without even looking, he didn't get it away. He came off the mat slightly.
He's dropping a lot of short balls at the moment, Grant George. Brendan is still on the wide line,
Yeah, running
but
through.
it's not a bad bowl at the back. Now it's important for Grant to reach the head. Unfortunately, his last bowl sort of in his waist slightly might make him go a little bit wide with the last bowl.
I didn't like that delivery either. But he's got better weight.
Well, he's played a great
What a
shot.
shot.
Well done to Grant.
Yeah.
Was 2 down.
He thought he was narrow when he let it go.
Mickey, keep your weight. Trying to move the jack a bit.
He's the first one that's found that line on that hand.
Yeah, he was 2 down, and it was important that he moved the jack there, because if Brendan had played that shot, Brendan could have made 4 or 5.
What do you think he's going to play up with a bit of weight?
Yeah, he's going to try and reach the shot ball, just over the draw, I would say. If he does manage to move the jack,
Yeah, just hangs with
as we
weight.
said, that forehand just hangs a little bit with weight. So it's another one to Grant George. That would be 3-all. 3-all after 4 ends.
Right back. 3 down.
And Belgravia still haven't got on the board yet for the ladies. They're now 7-0 down.
Grant George's gone off the green. I'm not sure if he's going to the toilet. There's a toilet below. He's gone up to the clubhouse.
And Niksha has just picked up a 4. So Niksha is 6-2 up after 5 ends. In the other semi-final against Mike O'Connor. So at this stage, we could have an all Wingate final, the pairs.
In the ladies singles, if I remember, it's also an all Wingate final.
That's correct. Wingate are doing incredibly well. I think Wingate have done very well to keep their 5 greens open. This is basically the off-season that we are in now. A lot of the clubs are doing spring treatments to their greens, so to keep the greens open and to keep them at a decent playing level, I think is a great credit to the club. It's the first time they've ever played bowls during October, during the September-October months.
Very good delivery here, should be pretty close. Yeah.
We said the Gauteng Open is normally played in the winter months of June and July, where the greens are nice and slick and in pretty good condition. So it's been a change this year because of COVID to move the Gauteng Open to September and October. Some of the players have complained about some of the greens in Tshwane, but generally I think the greens have been fair considering the circumstances.
Andre looks on another good line here.
Yeah, Andre hardly wastes the ball. You know, he's never,
very
never
unlucky.
drops it short, or he's always nagging away at the jack. Even if he's not holding the shots, he's given Brendan great opportunities to play conversion shots, which is all the skip needs from his lead.
Pretty good line here again. Now
Well,
he's
he was
also
very unlucky there, but
both leads
you know,
setting
you
the
can't
shot.
really fault. Yeah, you can't really fault. You know, the leads don't want to be scared of their head. The important thing is to try and move the jack before the opposition does. And if it does go sour, so be it. Rather play that way than play negative.
Very good delivery here. It's go beautifully.
Well, his weight was pretty good for what he wanted. I think he was looking to lift that side ball. He lifted that side ball, he could have made 3 shots. So his weight was good, but as we said, a little bit wide on that hand, it just does not bend. Grant George has got a very difficult shot now because he's 1 down. And if he tries to do something fancy on his backhand, he could take his own out. So, as we said, it might be a case of damage limitation again and try and draw something close first, as not to allow Brandon to draw any more bonuses. Grant is back on the green now, still walking with a bit of a limp. Looks like they've called him on the forehand. I'm not sure if that is the correct shot. Ideally, you like to play it on the backhand to try and draw something close first. Exactly what he's done. He's playing the backhand. And he's looked at very, very narrow.
A lot of weight.
Yeah, I don't think he needed that weight. You know, with that weight, he could have whipped his own out and allowed Brandon a meter to draw for 3. Sometimes it's a case of trying to get second, a good second.
I thought it was, I agree with you, Bob, crazy weight. I don't know where the cue would have even gone. He would have sprung it out in the open, which is not what he wants.
He's allowed Brandon an opportunity to consolidate his head.
Hit the grass.
Brandon's weight is not bad. It's probably just short of a foot of weight. But as I said, I think they're too scared to go too wide on that hand.
He's playing with a lot of weight again.
Well, he got a very fortunate result there, turning his front ball onto the jack. Could have made 2 out of it.
Yeah.
Looks a little.
And as we said, they got a little bit wide on that hand, they're just not bending. So he's 2 down. I think Grant George will be feeling quite relieved, I said, because I don't think that was what he was looking for.
No.
And he's holding 2. If he can draw for 3 here, it will be a sort of a bonus. will update you on the scores after this end, the other games.
Yeah, we don't, as I said earlier, we don't have the names on the board, so we have to look at the colour of the sticker to the board.
Oh, Brendan, he's got quite a good shot to play now. If he can play with a few yards of weight and find the one bowl, he could ricochet off that bowl and clip the other one out as well.
Make 2 or 3 if the stays.
Alternatively, if he gets the bowl full, he might get bowl onto bowl.
He's playing with huge weight.
Come on, Breen. Come on.
Well, he was looking for both. Yeah, he only got the one, so it's only one down. There's a good shot there from Brandon, so they're 4-3 down. In the other men's semi-final with Niksha Ben-Gurik. Niksha Ben-Gurik from Wingate Park is playing Mike O'Connor from Military. At this stage, Niksha Ben-Gurik is 7-2 up. The Belgravia game against Linwood, Tehran versus Glenfield. At this stage, Linwood are 8-0 up. Belgravia haven't got on the board there yet. And the lead from Linwood, she is playing absolutely fantastic balls. She's just drawn a front toucher and a back toucher now. In the other ladies semi-final, the score is 3-all. That is between Ina Fourie and Gardner. Ina Fourie from CBC and Gardner from Edenvale. The score is 3-all after 6 ends.
Very good. Good weight again. The first bowl. From Sorrel. Injured in action cricket. There again.
Well, if you look at the score is now 4-3 to Grant George. I think Grant George will be sort of relieved because I think that they have been sort of
under pressure most of the game.
Pressure, you know, and just the way the things have worked out. So it's 4-3. So after 5 ends, they're hanging in.
Good attempt there again. Sorrel Kruger.
Oh, that helps a lot.
Limping badly from his action cricket.
Well, Andres Rousseau is, as we said, on this forehand, if you do go a little bit wide, it's just not bending. He has nipped his grass, and that seems to be what happens when you nip your grass. It seems to cut across. So it's just has to try and find the center line. I'm surprised that both leads haven't tried the other end.
I'm with you, Bob. I said it
because
2 heads ago.
Both times they were both battling with the line. It seems to me a little bit wide, won't bend, nip the grass slightly, and it bends an extra meter.
Sorrel's played this direction better.
As we said, it still doesn't come back to the center lines. Most leads will be looking to come back to the center line. It's far more difficult for the opposition skip to get the shot if a ball is straight in front of the jam.
Or you sitting here?
I don't think he's reaching with this one.
Yeah, get on the wide line there, and it just hangs there.
Yeah.
Very good weight. And that can be very frustrating for a player when you think you're on the right line and your ball just doesn't react. And then when you nip your grass, that's what it does.
He's wasted a lot of balls, Bobby.
Yeah, that's what I say. I thought maybe the leads would change the other end, just a head or two, and maybe you can get a better turn on the ball. Yeah, it was very cold this morning as well, so maybe he is warming up a little bit. I think Grant George's best game he had yesterday, obviously 3 games, was his last game. Obviously his body was warm in the afternoon game. He battled a little bit in the 2 morning games. Well, Mike O'Connor was 4 shots down, and and he had his last bowl, and he's just drawn the shot. The score is now 7-3 to Niksha Bengurik against Mike O'Connor.
Een vergeet. En dan komt sommer terug. Ja, dat is makkelijker dat.
Fern's just drawn a cracker.
And it looks like Belgravia have dropped another 3. So now they are 11-0 down.
Big pressure, Bobby, in that type of situation with 3 wood
Yeah,
pairs, 11-0 down. Puts you under
This
huge
Linwood
pressure.
lead, Miss C. Murray, is playing exceptionally good bowls. They're 11-0 up against Carol Glanfield from Belgravia.
Brendan Fern's trying to draw another one. Just hung, came off a bowl. What can Grant George do? A really difficult hand, this forehand, away from the board. He likes it. Oh,
Well,
just
he
going
found
through
the hole
hole.
this time.
Was looking to get the white
It's
back
amazing
for 3.
sometimes a previous head, when you get a lucky shot, the following head you actually do play a good shot and it doesn't work. It's the way bowls work sometimes. All balances out at the end, I suppose.
Very good draw here from Ben. What
Well, that's a great draw from
great draw.
Brandon to make 2 shots. So, new leaders. Brandon Ferns goes into a 5-4 lead now after 6 ends.
Seems to be getting colder, Bobby, or I'm getting
Yeah,
older.
yeah, I think the wind, it's a chilly wind that's actually picking up now.
It's definitely gone chillier. And once again, thanks to our sponsors, Perfect Delivery and Academy, for bringing us this live streaming. Please support our sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't be able to bring you this live action.
CBC, it's Ina Fourie and Rolinda Fourie have taken a 5-3 lead now on Gardner and Jones from Edenvale. Well, as normally happens in bowls, when you tell everybody how well somebody is playing, the very next day they're all over the show. And that's exactly what's happened now with the Linwood lead. The C. Murray, who's been absolutely brilliant so far.
He's played 2.
She's played 2 very poor
Poor
bowls, two openers. She's got a 3rd bowl now, so I'm sure she will look to adjust.
And a great wood there from Andre Rousseau.
Andre, yes, as I said, now Andre keeps on nagging away at that jack. He's a very consistent lead. It's very seldom that he hasn't got at least 2 bowls within that meter circle.
Is he in the inter-district side, Bob?
Yes, he has played. He was in the inter-provincial side a couple of years ago for BGN that actually won the inter-provincial. So he's got a lot of experience, and I think he's actually very good for Brandon. They sort of complement each other very well. As we said, I think Andre is more the relaxed player on the green. He doesn't really get upset. Brandon, on the other hand, when he gets his tail up and he starts playing some great shots, he's very difficult to beat.
2 poorish woods there from Sorrel.
Yeah, you expect with the 2 leads with Sarl and Andre, you expect as the game progresses that Andre will start dominating.
Very good weight again.
And as we said, with 3 ball pairs, it's a very, very difficult game. If the skip goes down and he's 3 shots down, if his first ball is not close, leaves himself huge pressure. Well, he changed his hand, which I'm not sure if that was a good idea. Different line and different weight, and that forehand probably coming down, it might be a little bit heavy. A lot of players are playing a lot of short bowls in that forehand. He's 3 down now. If he doesn't make his first ball count, Grant George could be under trouble this end. And as we said, there's been quite a few games where we've seen big numbers, 5s and 6s. And all you need is one breakaway, a 5 or a 6, and it's very difficult to make up those shots.
Brendan playing his forehand.
Right, Bill. Big finish.
Very well bowled, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Brilliant
great
shot.
shot from Brandon.
Right in front of the jack.
And it's actually made it very difficult for Grant. Now, Grant George is now 4 shots down. Bit of a conundrum. If he plays with weight now and he misses, he could be under huge pressure with his last 2.
But if he cracks
And
it
he's
right,
having a full go.
full go. Got the best back.
Well, that's what happens. Now he's 4 down. Now he's under huge pressure. What does he do now with his next 2 bowls? Does he, in case of going for the big shot or damage limitation?
Luckily, his bowl stayed on because he took his back ball out. So
Yeah,
he
he's still got
has
the best
back.
back, but Brandon's going around the back.
I think that's very good thinking. He
Yeah,
doesn't want to drop a 2 or
It
3.
just keeps him honest. But I don't think he'll have another go. I think it'll be sort of a reckless shot if he does have another go. I think the important thing is to try and get 3rd shot now.
Very good tactic from Brendan. Now he's having,
Now he's having
fold.
another go. Yep, he might have taken one out, so it's probably still 3 shots. Brandon can draw for 4 now. Grant George has got no option but to have another go with his last. He's had 2 runs. I don't think it'll be wise to try and draw after 2 runs.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try to draw another shot to put the pressure on. No, he's coming around.
Well, he's going around the back, which is probably good thinking as well. Well, he's actually kept his other ball out. It might only be 2 now.
Flight control weight.
I don't think it was the best option from Brandon. I would have maybe kept the pressure on, drawn another one for 4.
No question. Grant was under big pressure there.
Yep.
I think he had too much
It's a
weight.
case of Brandon's actually released the pressure now. As opposed to getting a 4 or a 3, they said, looks like they might only get a 2.
Come on.
Well, Grant's running after his ball. Nothing wrong with the leg now.
It's a great ball.
Yep, I think he's drawn 3rd shot. Well, he was 2 down. So it's 2 to Brandon. Having a look at the second, 2 shots, I think.
Give it a 7 for the score.
Brandon Ferns is now 7-4.
Belgravia on the board.
Yeah, Belgravia picked up a 2. It's the first time the CBC lead has failed. And so the score is now 11-2 to Linwood against Belgravia. In our other game, in a turnabout there, Ina Fourie and Rolinda Fourie picked up a 5 against Edenvale. They are now 8-3 up.
Small movement on the wood, Bill.
Just looking around, Bob, I think the game we're televising is definitely, the rink is much trickier than the other rinks.
Yeah, I was talking to the locals here and they said to me, you don't want to get drawn on rink number B2. They said the second rink closest to the golf course. It's a very tricky rink. Yeah. Picture Ben-Gurik, he's a couple of shots down, but he's, in my opinion, he's been one of the players of this tournament. He's been playing incredibly good stuff. He had a very, very good game yesterday afternoon.
Sorrel on a good track here. Really
That's
good
Andre.
throw.
That's Andre's holding 2 again.
Sorry, Andre. Keep mixing them up.
It's
Persisting on
important, yeah, it's important for Sorrel. You know, Grant George is going to need him. He's drawn a great shot. He's drawn a great shot. It'll be interesting now if Brandon keeps him on the forehand.
his swing. No, just very good attempt.
Well, it's a very good lesson for some of the leads. The skip doesn't really want a shot every head, but if you give the skip a position to play to, the skip is very happy. And Andre has given Brandon 2 good balls slightly behind the jack to try and move the jack on the backhand for 3.
Right.
Well, Sarl has negated that now, but there's still an option for Brandon to play on the backhand. I think he has to play on the backhand. I don't think he's going to get a bend on the forehand. The backhand, he can reach the shot ball, turn it away, or maybe do touch the jack.
Watching intently his ball.
Yeah, I think his weight wasn't too bad
Yeah.
there. Possibly an extra meter just to hold that line would have been good.
Een vir geel.
Very
Well,
good.
Grant George has played a great ball. He's turned the back ball through. It could be 4 shots.
Perfect shot. Hit it
Yeah.
plumb. Turned it away plumb. Not really hit it. The perfect weight, perfect line. Brendan, first time he's really under pressure. 4 down. It was a strange call. I'm
Yeah,
surprised
well,
he
it's-
played the backhand, Bob.
Well, his weight was good. He needs a fraction of grass there. I don't think he can get the shot on the forehand. I don't think he'll bend enough on the forehand to get the shot.
No, could
That
be another shot.
Could be another shot, but it's Brendan's under pressure now. It's basically the first time in this game where Brandon has been under huge pressure, and he has shown that he can play the big shot. Throughout the tournament, he has been a few shots down, so it'll be interesting now what he does. He can't really have a full go, even though I think he's possibly eyeing it out. But the percentages are not good to have a full go. I will keep on the backhand, like he has played his first 2, put an extra meter of weight on, and try and reach the shot ball.
Watching it intently, he looks a bit narrow.
Well, he
to
just
me.
hasn't got the weight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just didn't have the weight. He'll be disappointed with that weight.
I thought it was the easiest shot to get second shot on the other hand, but he had played his first 2 woods. Could this be a turnaround in the game, Bob?
The ditch hand, the backhand going down towards the board, which he just played, seemed to be a slightly heavier. Forehand coming away from the board, slightly heavier. A lot of short balls played on that hand. And it seems to be Grant has also played short on that hand.
I'm surprised he changed his hand.
Well, I think Brendan's last ball was in his way. So it could be 4 shots. Yep, it was 4 shots. So there's new leaders again in that game. It's now 8-7 to Grant George. They've now played 8 ends. In the other men's semi-final, Mike O'Connor is playing against Niksha Ben-Guric. After 9 ends, Niksha Ben-Guric is 8-4 up. In the ladies, Eden Vale clawing their way back into the game. They are now 8-5 down against CBC. And in the other ladies semi-final, Linwood are 11-2 up on Belgravia.
Ja, nothing wrong with that start, eh?
These 3-ball pairs games do go relatively quickly. We have played 9 ends, which is basically half the game
Half the
finished.
game. Yeah, just to remind,
Playing 18 heads.
yeah, 18 heads, not 21 heads.
Just that.
And normally the ladies' games are a couple of heads behind the men, but not today. The ladies are keeping up with the men. They've also played 8 or 9 ends. So both ladies' games have played 9 ends now. And Linwood have just picked up another one.
Ja, you're not far off your bookie.
So they are 12-2 up on Belgravia.
2 brilliant woods.
Yeah,
Piping
Sarl is
correct.
doing his bit. You know, he's
Yeah.
probably the underdog of the 2 leads, but he's actually certainly holding his own against Andre, which is giving Grant George a lot of balls in the head to play.
Okay.
But as we said, you know, Andre's got a very good temperament. He won't feel rattled, he won't feel overawed, he'll just keep nagging away at the jack.
In the Binguri game, I just watched him draw 2 pearlers on a loose head.
Yeah,
It
Nick
came-
Shear's playing incredibly good balls, particularly his drawing shots.
All the way.
It was no fluke that he became South African singles champion in May.
Drawn 3
And
on
he's
his
just drawn, Nick Shear's just drawn 3 balls within 6 inches of the jack to pick up 3.
11-4.
He was 3 down when he went down, and he drew 3 balls within 6 inches to pick up a 3, and he now goes into 11-4 lead against Mike O'Connor.
Grant George very happy with his lead, line 2.
Yeah, it's amazing. Lead draws you 2 shots. All of a sudden, he gets a little bit of a spring in his step. Not so much of a limp anymore.
Yeah. Limping faster. He's limping faster. You're 100% correct, Bobby. It's the first time I've seen any sort of positive motion. Got it away nicely.
Well, he's halfway up the green, I think.
It's not
Well,
that far.
he's not too far away. He's only about it's actually, sorry, I apologize. His weight wasn't too bad.
Yeah, he got it away now.
Yeah.
He just nipped the grass at his hand.
Oh, Brandon is playing the heavier hand again now.
And look to trail the jack. To
Yeah,
his-
I think this might be the head where Brandon comes to light.
He's looking to turn the jack to his
Yeah,
2
Brandon
green
will be
balls.
disappointed with the last end, and you know, good players. It's amazing when they do play an average head, they do come to light the following head. So I expect Brandon to do something this head.
Very good, Paul.
Grant's played a good shot.
Brandon's actually going for the
Trail, I think. on the
trail,
floor.
which is at this stage I'm not sure if that's the correct shot, because he's a few shots down. He needs some help here.
Bit of each, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's got. A little bit of help there.
Blow, scope bit.
And now Grant George will be feeling disappointed because that ball that he used was Grant George's first ball. So Grant George actually gave Brandon a ball to use.
Yeah, good spot.
Happy to drop to it. One down.
Interesting to see what he's going to play. I think he's going to play the backhand and trot to it.
Yeah, I think he just has to play over the draw, maybe turn the ball, or just maybe touch the jack a foot or so.
He likes it. He's running.
He's looking for the ball. A good shot he played. Well, Brandon is still holding the one. Brandon will feel relieved this head because they were in trouble. So I suspect Brandon will play his last ball on the backhand to try and reach the jack level ball, but I wouldn't be surprised if he drops a little bit short with this ball. Sometimes when you get a little bit of fortune in the head, you take that fortune and you bank it. You don't try and look for anything else.
I've just seen 2 great woods from Linda Kashi. He's playing very well against Edenvale.
Wow. What an effort, Phil.
Has he drawn another one
Well, it
then?
was a great effort there from Brandon.
Could be a measure. No.
Well, Andre's conceded it's only one. So that game is now appeals. It's now 8-all after 9 ends. In the other games we have Mike O'Connor against Niksha Ben-Gurik. Niksha Ben-Gurik is 11-4 up on Mike O'Connor after 10 ends. CBC, it's Ina Faree and Relinda Faree are 9-5 up on Edenvale after 10 ends. And the other semi-final with the ladies, Linwood, that's Marty Taron, is 12-2 up on Carol Glanfield.
Matt pulled well up, Bob. That's interesting.
Yes, I expected that too.
Did you?
Yes, that's the way the game plan. He's actually lost the jack now. And that's quite surprising because he has been throwing the jack pretty well this whole tournament. And that's what I think it's a good tactic. You know, I'm not in favour of bringing the mat up too early in the game, because if it's not working for you, you've got nothing to fall back on. And I think the last couple of heads, Andre has just felt that Sarl is starting to dominate him, so he wanted to change something, which is probably a very good tactic. It'll be interesting to see if he stays on his forehand now. He's been battling with his forehand going up. He's been battling with a line, but they brought the mat up slightly, an extra meter or so, so it might just change the line.
Yeah, he's playing the forehand still. Looks on a better line here, but just not up, I don't think.
You know, some players might ask, what do you do if the hand is not bending or it's bending too much? Possibly the only solution is to change your position on the mat. Sometimes you could stand on the inside of the mat, or you could possibly stand on the outside of the mat. Only one foot has to be on the mat, so you've got quite a range to work with. And very often when you change your position on the mat, it does change the line of the bowl as well.
Very good.
Well, that's two very good bowls from Andre. Two great openers. And if you have a look at him, he's actually standing right on the inside of the mat, as Andre. Might just change the bend of the bowl slightly, because the line was a lot better with his last bowl.
Sorrel's trying, yeah.
If you look at this hand there,
very well, Paul.
if you look at the backhand, most of the bowls the players are playing on the backhand are actually coming back to the center line. So I'm very surprised that they're actually persisting with the forehand.
Yeah. Playing with a bit of weight to open it up.
Well, that's a good bowl. That's a good bowl. He's given Brandon
A back bowl to
two
trail the jack.
opportunities. Brandon can either reach Andre's last bowl and turn the short bowl through, or trail the jack a meter. And as we said a few times on that hand, players are just dropping a couple of feet short on the backhand. The last time Brandon played the backhand coming down towards the board, he dropped 3 bowls a meter short. He would have learned from that. So I suspect that Brandon will use an extra bit of weight on this bowl to try and move the jack back a meter.
Yeah, he has got a bit of weight, I think.
Well, he's given himself a big opportunity now. He's got 2 or 3 seconds. And if he has to play the same bowl again, he'll either find a short bowl, turn it through for 2 or 3, or trail the jack for 2 or 3. So it's important for Grant to negate that now, to try and get into the head first. Either trail the jack yourself,
Very good
or
line.
reach the back bowl.
Very good line.
Well, he's
Drawn another.
Yeah, he's ended up in a very good home. But doesn't really change Brandon's shot. Brandon still needs to play with an extra meter of weight. Push the ball through, the short ball through, or preferably try and pick up the jack.
Brendan looking. He's told him to play for the jack.
And Brandon has got a very economical delivery. His line is normally exactly where he wants it.
Very
Well, he
interesting.
played a good shot there.
Grant.
Yeah, I do. If I find that outside blue ball, will your ball turn off the jack? Yes. How's this go?
Change hands, going to play the forehand. Doesn't want to give I don't think he wants to give a target on the backhand.
Yeah, I think he wants to try and reach the back
Back
ball.
ball. It's just not bending.
Well, he's coming around the back position, which is it's not a bad ball. Brandon has to be careful with the weight he plays with now. He doesn't want to spring the jack too far and allow Grant to draw two with his last.
I think he was looking to turn that blue ball out. He was just slightly wide because he had a lot
Yes,
of weight, Bob.
sure.
He had too much weight.
Andre's having a good look at it. Which is possibly a good thing at this stage because slowing the game down, it's not a bad thing when you feel as though the game is very, really close and the other players are sort of beginning to dominate. It's a good idea to slow the game down slightly.
What do you want?
This is the longest head we've had in the game. Lots of discussion, and not that the Woods are.
Yeah, you know, they've played 9 ends now. The score is 8-all. So the players will be thinking they're on the back straight now. This is the time to start dominating. If you can score the next 2 or 3 ends, try and build up a bit of a lead. So it's a crucial end, this end. You don't want to drop the next 2 ends and then start playing catch-up. Yeah, possibly it took too long to play the shot.
Oh,
Well, he's coming, I
that could be.
think.
He's at the shot.
I think Brandon's still 1 down.
One to blue. One to blue.
Sarah is asking him to play on the backhand to try and maybe possibly move the jack. There's no indication of actually who is holding the shot. They're actually having a good look at it.
From the
The
screen,
problem is on that backhand, it seems to bend very quickly. He doesn't want to turn Brandon's ball 1 roll. Could give away 2 if he does that.
no one's talking.
If Grant George is playing this ball, I suspect he could be shot down because it's very, very dangerous.
I think the last ball did sneak in, Bob. He's playing with weight.
Well, that's what we.
So
He
again,
was
through
looking,
the
he
hole.
was looking to move the jack.
Jack.
Very unlucky shot.
Very unlucky.
Played it with a lot of confidence. I think they're going to call the umpire to measure.
Hey, Polky.
In the meantime, we'll just update you the results of the other games. In the other men's semi-final between Niksha Ben-Gurik from Wingate Park playing against Mike O'Connor from Military. After 12 ends, Niksha Ben-Gurik is 12-5 up. In the ladies semi-finals,
One. Just beat your ball. Just slip it.
we have Belgravia, Carol Glanfield with Marty Teron from Linwood. At this stage, after 10 ends,
All the way.
Linwood are 13-4 up.
Let's get it out.
And in the other ladies semi-final, between Edenvale Gardner
I'll play.
against CBC, the 2 Farees, Ina Faree
On the wide.
and Relinda Faree, the score is 9-6 to CBC.
Once again, thanks to our sponsors, Perfect Delivery and Academy Brush. Thanks very much for assisting us and promoting the game of bowls.
Very well ball. Same as your last. If you pass the jack, it's good.
Measuring. Bobby looking around, some very good bowls, some good leading, especially in the ladies' games. The leads are playing Pretty tight bowls.
Yeah. Not bad there. Okay, play the same. No, play the same. You find yours, their ball pops out for 2. You pull the white, it's also good.
Yeah, Mike O'Connor, he's had a rough couple of weeks. Apparently his wife has been in hospital with COVID, was in ICU for I think 6 or 7 weeks in a very bad way. Apparently she's out of ICU now and is recovering and is expecting her home in the next week or 2. So we wish Mike and his wife all the best. It's very difficult to play bowls when you do have that on your mind. You've got something else worrying you.
Very consistent though, he's always there or thereabouts in tournaments.
Yeah, he's had a very good season as well. He won the South African Fours this year as a skip. He had the great Garth White playing for him a second, the National Fours. Well, that was one shot to Kempton Park to Grant George. So Grant George now moves into a 9-8 lead after 10 ends. That game could go down to the wire. Very often when you do get a close game like this, a break does arrive, either a 4 or a 5. So both teams will be aware of that to try and consolidate and try and build up the head as tightly as possible.
Yeah, great opener.
Yeah,
that's a good opener from Sarl Kruger.
I think he's played consistently well.
Yeah, if you look at the draw, they've had a very tough draw, Grant George. They've taken out some big names throughout the tournament. In this section, they beat Frans Raccoon. First round of the playoffs, they went and beat Jerry Baker. And then yesterday morning, they beat Donnie Pickett. So they've had a few hard games, taken out some big names along the way.
Yeah, all in your weight, yeah.
Just going to drop a little bit short. He had a perfect line.
No, you're with that, eh?
He's happy. It's not often you hear Skip saying he's happy with a shortish ball, but it is forcing Sarl to play a bit wider. He has tended to be a little bit wide on that hand.
You know, on a fuller head, on a long head, it's not so easy to get the shot when you are shot down a foot behind the jack.
There again, as I said, it forced him a little bit wide.
And again, turn yours, slip yours. Come on, you.
Well, Mike O'Connor's just drawn a good shot. He was a couple of shots down, so he's picked up a 1. So he's
played a lot of crucial with his last ball.
Yeah, he's now 12-6 down against Niksha. After 13 ends, that game is moving rapidly forward. Both players are very, very quick off the mat, Niksha and Mike O'Connor. Sorry, the score is now 12-7 to Niksha Ben-Gurik after 13 ends.
Sorrel played 3 pretty good woods. Line 3, putting Andre under pressure. He's changing his hand. Maybe it's a good thing.
I think Grant George can be really happy with the way Sorrel has played.
Yeah. I think he's got the upper hands.
Yes, certainly the last couple of ends. And I think that's why last time Andre Rousseau did try and bring the mat up to try and change something, and he did lose the jack. And unfortunately, he hasn't given Brandon anything to play for this head. And as we said earlier on, sometimes the break does come, the 4 or a 5. And could it be this head? It might just be this head where the break comes. Brandon hasn't really got anything to play to.
Yeah, if you go onto ours, it might push it out. But otherwise you'll have to come in here.
It's important for Grant now to keep the pressure up by getting another ball in the head. Very often when you play a poor ball, it releases the pressure. And the opposition skip plays a good one. So it's important for Grant to consolidate, try and get another one in the head, another shot.
It's running through, but
Well,
it could be in the counts.
Could be another shot, and which keeps Brendan honest now. I don't think Brendan can afford to play with too much weight, because if he runs through, he doesn't want to drop a 4 or a 5. As we said, it could be a case of damage control this head. Try and draw something close first. But he's certainly reaching, and he got a nice little rub there. He's actually coming for either shot or second shot. He got a nice little flick there, but his weight was very good. I think it was the right shot to play. Possibly just over the draw to try and reach. And it's another measure.
The body language says it's against it. Looks like Brendan sneaked it. Yeah. He says a measure, but he doesn't look very confident.
Still got a good shot. You know, he can turn that ball away.
He likes it.
He likes it. He's running after it. I don't think he's just not going to bend in time, but still giving himself an opportunity. So it's important for Brendan now to try and get another one in the head. He doesn't want to be a few shots down with his last bowl.
I think he's lying. That's the way he signalled a measure. Seems to be warming up a little bit, Bob. I can feel I'm not as cold.
Yeah, it's a nice day, but sometimes the wind just picks up. So Brendan is actually, I think he's scared of getting hooked on that front bowl. It was important for him to get another bowl in the head at this stage. He doesn't want to be, as I said, 3 or 4 down with his last bowl. So if Grant plays with a meter of weight, turns the light blue bowl away from the head, could be holding 4 or 5.
Let's see what he does.
Well, he's having a good look, but
well, yeah.
He's chipped the ball out, but he hasn't got the perfect result. He's got the shot, possibly only holding 1.
Once again, thanks to our sponsors, Perfect Delivery, and Academy Brush, Craig Smith and his team. Academy becoming a keen sponsor and interest in the game, thanks.
If Brandon only drops a 1 this head, I think he'll take that. The way the head was building up.
Yeah. He was under big pressure. I think he's only 1 down.
Come on, Brain.
Right, so yeah, so he dropped the 1, which is scores now 10-8 to Grant George after 11 ends. And in the Edenvale game, it's a very close game between Gardiner and the Farees from CBC. The score is now 9-8 to CBC against Edenvale. Edenvale are chipping away. They were a few shots down earlier on. The score is now 9-8 CBC. The other ladies semi-final after 11 ends, Linwood are 14-4 up on Belgravia. And Niksha has just picked up another shot now, so Niksha moves into comfortable 13-7 lead against Mike O'Connor, and they've played 14 heads, so there's only 4 heads to play in the game, and there's a 6-shot difference. So Niksha looks pretty much in control in that game.
Yeah, he had a few yards to draw the shot there, which he did. Persisting on this forehand, I'm very surprised. There again, running wide and heavy. Bob, this could cost them the game, in my opinion.
Okay, 4 big ends, Paul, 4 big ends.
Andre Rousseau is normally very consistent. Has just lost it the last couple of ends. And as we said, his forehand that he's playing down towards the ball, he cannot get a line there. And I'm very, very surprised that Brandon hasn't changed his hand.
As I just said, I think it could cost him the game, Pop. They've wasted a lot of woods on that side of the green. Sorrel's definitely played that hand better. But there again, hung.
You see those jack level bowls, the weight is good, but they aren't going to count this head. They, if you can get back to the center of the green, makes it very, very difficult for the opposition skip to get the shot. And when you're battling with a line, all of a sudden your delivery starts changing to try and flick the ball out or try and get a bend on the bowl, and that's when your weight generally goes. And that's what happens again. Nipped his grass and it bends away. He's holding the shot, but it's 2 feet away, gives Grant George. Grant George has been playing the backhand coming down pretty well. So
that is the shot.
He has left a lot of room for Grant George to play the shot.
Must be close.
Well, it's interesting that we do have the current South African singles champion, Niksha Ben-Gurik, playing against the current South African fourth champion, Mike O'Connor. You can see the consistency of the players. Same names seem to appear in a lot of the finals this year. And Niksha Ben-Gurik, in my opinion, has been one of the stars of this tournament. He's played exceptionally well. He got to the semi-final of the singles. And it looks like at this stage he's on his way to the final of the pairs. He's 13-7 up on Mike O'Connor. Well, Grant George has just drawn the shot. As we said, when a lead plays jack level bowls, it's actually easier for the skip to draw. It gives him a sort of a target and a target area to play to.
Very good attempt. Touch of grass and he would have been great.
Yeah, Brandon coming down, playing the backhand. Probably just playing with a yard less weight than what he should be playing with. He just seems to be very tentative coming down on that backhand. Extra yard of weight will do the trick.
Strange that both skips are playing the backhand and the leads are allowing the leads to play the forehand.
And when you look where Grant George's first bowl and his second bowl lined up, they land up exactly in line with the jack. So the bowls are coming back to the center of the green on that hand. So it's very surprising that both leads are sticking with the forehand.
I think he's nipped the grass again. Yeah. Could that be another? Could have turned them in maybe for another.
And for the first time in this game, Brandon is not looking very comfortable. He's giving a very confused look at the head. And he just does not look comfortable at the moment.
Another great.
As opposed when Grant George starts running after his bowls like he is now.
The limp is gone.
Yeah, the limp is gone and he's building up a lot of confidence. He actually has drawn 2 great shots there now.
Yeah.
So let's see what Brandon has made. I think he's going to come and have a look, which might be a good thing, just to settle himself down.
But he has been tentative. I agree with you, Bob. Those 2 woods, he could have played with a little bit more weight.
I think that backhand coming down is a little bit heavier, and players are just underplaying it slightly. They just not playing positive enough on the backhand. Number's having a long chat with him now, which I think is a good thing. It's just to calm him down a little bit, get his confidence up.
Delivery.
As we said, sometimes it only takes one great shot to spur great players on. As we said, Grant George is playing out of Kempton Park Bowling Club.
It must come on the bank.
This will be his last tournament for Kempton Park. He has now moved on to Belgravia. And Mike O'Connor was holding the shot with his last bowl, and he played with a extra meter of weight and sliced the jack. He's given away 2 to Niksha Ben-Gurik. And he just said to his lead, why didn't you tell me that could happen? So he's a little bit upset with his lead. But I think it was his weight that was the problem. It wasn't his lead's problem. It's now 15-7 to Niksha Ben-Gurik with 3 ends to play. So there's 8 shot difference in that game. That game, as we said, is moving forward very rapidly. They've played 15 ends, as opposed to all the other games have played 12.
Now, Brendan has been walking up to the head 3 times now. So
yeah, so it's another one to Grant George. Grant George has picked up a few singles in a row now. So the score is now
12-8.
Oh, sorry, it was 2. So it's now 12-8 to Grant George. Grant George now moves into a 4-shot lead with 6 ends to play. And in the ladies' game between Edenvale
2-4, that's 2 against.
and CBC, Edenvale, who were 9-3 down at one stage, have now chipped away. The score is now 9-all. So that's Gardiner versus Fourie. Gardiner from Edenvale and Fourie from CBC.
On your legs, yeah.
The score is 9-all.
No.
In the other ladies' semi-final between Linwood and Belgravia.
Number 2, eh?
Belgravia struggling at the stage. They are 15-4 down to Linwood.
can he beat? He's not playing
And
his.
they are persisting on the side of the green. Sometimes, you know, when you're not finding it, it's worth taking a bit of a gamble. Just change for 1 head or 2. Sometimes the lies of the bowls just change the heads. Things change slightly.
I think Brendan is totally wrong here. He should have changed him long ago. Let him. He's being out-bowled by Sorrel, in my opinion. Although this is their worst
big
head.
one, eh?
Yes, this is the first time they've actually thrown a full head to the tee, to the 2 meter mark. The mat is up slightly. The mat is probably up an extra 4 to 5 feet.
He has changed his hand. First time in the game in this direction. He's now playing the forehand. Running through.
You're old, it's drop the one, you're good.
And this is very unlike Andre Rousseau. Andre Rousseau
Yeah,
has
I'm
a
happy,
very,
yeah.
very good steady lead. However, he seems to favour the shorter ends, Andre Rousseau.
Didn't get that one away nicely.
Yeah, it's a very
Come on.
it's a very widespread in this. It could be a game of singles now between the 2 skips.
Let alles hier. Let alles hier. Finish the trip.
Well, Andre Rousseau has just drawn the shot now. Maybe that bowl will just like sort of spur him on. I think that was a big bowl from Andre. He didn't want to leave Brandon with too much to do. Brandon hasn't been drawing with a lot of confidence in the last few ends, so it was important for Andre to lie the shot. You know, pairs is a game of combinations and compatibility and dovetailing. When you feel that your other player is not playing just as well as he should at that stage of the game, it's important that you try and up your game to try and help your pairs partner. So it was very important there for Andre to get something close. And Grant George has really got a rush of blood with that one. He's flying through the head, which allows Brandon now an opportunity to play with confidence because he is holding the shot. If he was shot down, it would be a lot more difficult to draw the shot. However, he does have probably 4 feet to draw another.
Bob, you don't think it was a wrong call to throw such a long head? I think.
Well, they have been playing. They have been scoring on the long heads.
Not,
But, you know,
not
sometimes,
this long,
yeah,
not this
but
long.
sometimes the leads, you know, it's not so easy to throw the jack where the skip is.
Good for now.
Well, that's another shot in the meantime.
Pressure building. Can this be the turning point?
Grant, he's been drawing pretty well the last few ends, so you expect him to draw within a meter,
He likes it.
possibly draw at least second shot.
Definitely likes it the way he's running after it. Oh, just ran
He's running
through.
through slightly. That could be third and possibly even second shot.
Looks like second. Just for the viewers out there, the finals are going to be played around about 11:30, quarter to 12, not this afternoon. So we'll be bringing you live straight after these games, the finals. Men's singles final, the great Jason Evans with Bobby with an incredible record this year.
Yes, if you look at Jason's singles record this year, the last few years in fact, multiple winner South African Masters, multiple winner JBA singles,
5 years in a row, the JBA singles.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever been done.
JBA Masters, South African. The only one that eluded him this year was the South African singles. Apart from that, he's won everything else.
So stay tuned. We'll be bringing you that game live.
And
at
he's
11:30.
playing against Bruce Manning in the final. Also a Wingate Park bowler. Well, Grant George won't be happy with that draw. I think possibly what happened there, he looked at his knee there, or his leg. I think his leg is starting to play up a little bit. Well, if Brendan is holding one, it's important that he tries to draw the bonus, extra shot.
It's crucial.
Pick up a 2, he's 4 shots down and doesn't want to widen the gap, or that gap to get any wider than what it is. It's important to close that gap to maybe 2 shots. Well, Brendan has drawn a great ball.
Yep.
So that will be 2 shots.
It could change the game, Bob. 2 shots,
Yeah,
nothing
I
in
think
it.
Andre will. Well, I'm surprised he hasn't brought the mat up. The last time he tried to bring the mat up, he actually lost the jack. Brendan is asking him now to take the jack right back now to the 2-meter mark. The score is now 12-10 to Grant George.
And that could be the turning point of the game, letting them back. I think they needed to score
Yeah,
there,
Grant
Grant.
George won't be happy with that head.
Yeah.
His lead didn't play well, and neither did he, so they were fortunate only to drop a 2 there. Well, this is interesting now. Brandon has asked Andre to take the mat right back, and they've gone T to T, full length.
And he's changed his hand. Well, he's woken up.
Yes.
That's the best thing I've seen in
It's gone to the
the
backhand.
hand. About time. We've been basically begging from the side. And he looks pretty good here.
Well, that hand, as we said earlier on, is a little bit heavier. He wouldn't have played that hand before. So I think it's important that he persists with that hand.
At least
He's had a look. He's sort of showing his skip. He's not too sure what he should be playing. But I think it's important. You know, if you look where his ball landed up, it's sort of in line with the jack. So his line is not bad. So it's just a case of putting an extra meter on.
stamped his foot, so I don't think he's going to quite reach. Often when bowlers stamp their foot like that, they know they're not up.
Yeah, it's, as we said, that the backhand looks like it's slightly heavier. There's been a few bowls that are pulling up quickly on that hand. But it's also bending nicely as well. I think that's the important thing. It is getting a nice true bend to the jack. There's 4 short bowls now, so the person who gets in front of the jack now is going to make it extremely difficult for the opposition to get the shot. And I suspect this might be the bowl.
Sorrel gone off the last 2 hits. As we boasted, he was playing so well, he's gone right off.
Well, Andre certainly over-adjusted with that one. He just hasn't found his range this game. He's shaking his head. He knows that he's not giving Brandon much support at the stage.
Can Sorrel get one? I mean,
Are we holding? 3, 4.
Well, Brandon doesn't want to find the green one. That's exactly what he's done now.
yeah.
To play 3 bowls on a full head that are short of the jack makes it extremely difficult for the opposition skip, because if Brandon draws now and he draws in front of the jack, basically Grant George does not have a shot to play. It'd be what you call a lights out.
We didn't have the great game we've been playing.
Yeah, as we were saying, he's gone slightly Grant's lead last 2 years.
Brandon has played this backhand quite a few times this game, so he'll be aware of the weight. As long as he just gives it the grass. He has been nipping his grass slightly on the hand.
He's
Yep,
not
again he's short. You know, the whole game the players have been playing with the mat up 4 to 5 feet. This is the first end where they've actually brought the mat back, and very often that happens. You bring the mat back, the players tend to drop short, and Grant's done exactly the same thing. He's dropped short, but now I expect Brandon to draw something close and really put the pressure on Grant now.
Seems to have better grasp from his hand. He likes it.
He needs a clean run.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's drawn 2. And in the other men's final, Niksha picked up a few shots there, so Mike O'Connor has shaken hands. So congratulations to Niksha. A comfortable win there against Mike O'Connor.
Grant George narrow. Not his best.
Yeah, maybe Brandon has picked up on something. I think he might suspect that Grant is battling on the fuller heads because of his leg problem. And there's more effort required, more body movement required on a fuller head than on a short head. So Brandon has probably picked up on that. And that's why he's called a long head. And Grant George has not played well the last 2 ends at all on the fuller heads. I think this is a big bowl. If Brandon can draw on the jack this head, Grant's under huge pressure with his last. He doesn't want to turn that front bowl in.
Which he just has.
Well, he's turned it away. He was very fortunate there. If he turned that bowl onto the side set, well, Andre's given him a high 5, but I think it's more of relief than anything else.
But it could be 3.
Yeah, 3 shots down.
He was lucky.
Yeah, I think he was very lucky.
He would have sold the shot.
He could have got that ball onto the jack, or he could have got the ball onto the side set, and Grant is walking very gingerly back to the mat. As we said, it's very difficult when you do have a knee injury to play on a longer end. Well, Grant is back to his forehand now. And he's having a good look at it. Well, he just brushed the jack. I think it was sort of a gamble shot that. So it's 3 now. So again, we have new leaders in this game. The leaders changed in this game very often. So from being 12-8 up, Grant George is now 13-12 down after 14 ends. So Brandon takes a 1-shot lead with 4 ends to play. In the ladies' games, Edenvale, who were well down earlier on in the game, have now taken a lead against CBC. Edenvale are now 11-9 up after 16 ends, so there's 2 ends to go there. That game is going down to the wire. In the other ladies' game, after 14 ends, Linwood, it's Marty Teron and Messit Murray are 18-6 up on Belgravia with 4 ends to play.
Well, changing.
So we've got 2 very tight semi-finals. We've got Brandon Ferns 13-12 up on Grant George.
Well done.
And we have Edenvale are 11-9 up on CBC with 2 ends to play. The other ladies semi-final, it looks all over by the shouting.
Oh, my God.
Belgravia are 18-6 down, they're 12 shots down against Linwood with 4 ends to play.
That's great.
So basically, they need 3 shots every end.
Bob, I think the game has changed since Brendan's leaders changed the side of the green like we've been begging the whole game. They're definitely taking the lead, and he's definitely playing with a better line. There you are, great wood here. Why Brendan didn't call that, maybe it's not inexperience, but
Yeah,
that was stubborn. It was stubborn.
You know, when you are playing there, you always feel as though you can beat that hand.
Yeah.
You know, and you persist with that hand, you feel that you can beat that hand. And sometimes it's not a bad idea just to change. Just changes the way the bowls fall, the bowls lie in the head. Well, that's a good shot there from Sorrel. They've done exceptionally well in this tournament, Grant George. They've taken out some big names along the way. They've taken out Frans Fakun, Jerry Baker and Donnie Pickett.
Oh, very white.
Well, there was 3 good bowls from Andre. That's what we expect from him, to draw 3 bowls within a meter circle.
Seems to have a lot of weight to the lead.
Totally missed his line there. That
don't
ball,
know what-
sort
I
of a
don't know
rusher there.
That was crazy weight.
I think he
unless
was trying to reach the back bowl,
Oh.
but possibly overplayed it. And you look at Sorrel. Sorrel's also walking up very slowly up to the green. He also hurt himself playing action cricket. Nick Shabengurik, who's won his game against Mike O'Connor, is an interested spectator now. He's cheering his club mates on.
Kom.
It'll be an all Wingate final.
Kom, Brent. Big drop. Mooi, dankie hoor.
great draw, yeah. Brilliant wood.
Well, Brandon has just drawn the shot.
That's that blue, huh?
That was a great draw.
You won't be short, Grant.
Well, Edenvale, who are 11-9 up with 2 ends to play against CBC, are lying 4 absolute pearlers. And the CBC skippers only got 2 woods left. So she's still 4 down. She's got 1 bowl left. And if Edenvale can draw another one for 5, that will be the end of the game. Although it looks like they're going for position now.
Strange call out there. I will be drawing another shot, and Brendan's drawn another.
Well, Brendan turned a bowl up, so it's it could be holding possibly 2.
Doesn't fall in.
All on weight now. Good. Comfortable. Just put a little bit of weight.
Well, Jenny has asked her lead to get a back bowl, but looks like she's actually drawn another shot. So it could be 5 shots for Edenvale, which means that would be game. If CBC skip does not change the head, and she's got a very difficult shot to play. There are 3 bowls that are certainly straight in line with the jack. No target at all.
Big turnaround.
But she has got all the back bowls, so if she does make contact, she could be holding a few, but it's sort of a gamble, hit and miss shot. Grant George is playing with that meter, and he's actually got the jack, but I think he's still down. Could still be 2 down.
Right shot, thank you. Right shot.
Sorry, Brandon played that shot.
think it's only one. I'm not convinced.
And there we have, on your picture now, we have Sean Mr. Bowles Thomas making an appearance. Sean Thomas will be very disappointed. They lost their pairs yesterday in the second game. Even Jason Evans lost their pairs game to the Leeuwkop side. Well, the Linwood skipper's trying, but she's just run through, so it looks like it's 4 or 5 to Edenvale, which would mean that'll be the end of the game. They're taking out 2, 3, having a good look. 4, and they're measuring for the fifth one, which from our angle, yeah, it looks like it could be 5, which would mean that Edenvale are through. They would be 7 up with 1 head to play, and with 3 ball pairs, you can only pick up a 6.
I don't think they've realised that yet. The skips are looking ready to play.
Well, it's only 4.
4.
So Edenvale are 6 shots up playing the last head against CBC.
What is Grant going to play here? He's playing with weight on the forehand.
This is a big ball. If Grant doesn't make a change here, this could be the turning point in the game. Yeah. Well, could be a few shots there now to Brandon. Yeah, well, Brandon just picked up a 4. So Brandon Ferns is now 17-12 up, 5 shots up with 3 ends to play. So as we said earlier on, very often in the game, there's always a break somewhere along the line. It's now come on the 15th head. It's a very good time to pick up a 4 or a 5, get that breakaway, which means you can sort of defend the game now. 5 shots up with
another very long head, probably the longest head of the game.
Yeah, also the mat is right back now on the 2-meter mark, T to T. As we said, Grant George has been battling on the long heads.
The change in this game was definitely Andre changing the side of the green. If they've won 3 heads in a row.
And also changing the length.
And the length, 100%.
Full head is put Grant George off his stride, because he was starting to draw very well on the shorter heads. Well, Andre is so he knows that hand is a little bit heavier, so he didn't want to be short with his first. They certainly over-adjusted. I think Andre is showing a little bit of experience there, because when you're up in a game, you actually don't want to start dropping short. You allow the opposition back into the game. So Andre knows that, but just basically over-adjusted, and I expect him to draw really close now.
But Sorrel has gone off, Bob. The last 4 heads, we were boasting how well he was.
I think it's on the fuller head, you know.
Yeah.
As we said, he is carrying an injury as well from action cricket.
Yeah, this could be a great wood here. It's going to hurry on. I think that's a good wood. Very good wood on that length. Puts huge pressure on Sorrel now.
Well, on the last head with the ladies, the Edenvale lead, Jenny Jones, has just thrown a front toucher on a full head. So it's almost impossible now for
they could
CBC to get a 6.
Yeah, that actually could shake hands unless they burn it.
Well, the burnt ends are respotted, so that's not going to help her either.
Are they respotted in the playoffs?
No ball. Yeah.
Those are like Andre. Normally Andre, when he gets the 1 ball close, the others follow. So, but he's got the 1 in there. It's a case of game management now.
Belgravia picked up a 4 to give them an outside chance at 18-10 from 18-6.
So Belgravia are 8 shots down with 2 ends to play, so they need 2 4s. This could be very difficult, very tricky.
The leading has gone a little bit off since they've changed the length, Bob. That's not a good head again. One bowl
Yeah, I
close.
think it's difficult, because we are playing on a green in the off season. There's a lot of
Green
wear
patches.
and tear from the 2 meter mark down to the ditch. And it's extremely, the ball seems to pick up speed when it gets past the 2 meter mark, so it's extremely difficult. The length they are playing. Well, Brendan has played a great ball, move the jack. Grant will be thinking now he's 5 shots down with 3 ends to play. He'll be looking to try and score at least a 2 this head. And he certainly hasn't
I don't
delivered
think.
that ball correctly. And,
No, you'll never be up.
as we said, on the longer heads, Grant is really battling. Walking very gingerly with that sore leg of his. If Andre scores this end, I think that'll be game. If Andre and Brendan score this end, I think that will be game.
Yeah, another great wood. He's played that side. He chose the right side from early on in the game. He's been on the truest side.
Grant is having a look at it with a bit of weight now. Sort of a gamble shot. And that's the trouble when you are looking for a miracle shot. Things just don't seem to work out. So he has got the best back, so he does have a shot to play with his last to pull the jack through for 2. So Brendan cannot beat that back ball, so it's pointless trying to get a back ball. I think he will try and cover the jack with his last. If he does touch the jack behind his own, it'll be lights out. Well, that's 3 good draws from Brendan, so it looks like he's holding 4 shots. This is probably Grant George's last chance. He's stalking it, certainly stalking it.
Likes it.
He's certainly stalking it. Well, it's still
Okay.
2 down. That's 2 down.
He's
So
7.
it's 19-12
12.
now. 7 shots, 2 ends. It's going to be extremely difficult to pick up 7 shots in 2 ends.
So, grand, complete turnaround from 12-8 up. Bob. He was 12-8 up. He hasn't scored.
Edenvale have won their game now, the ladies' game. So Edenvale are through to the final. Congratulations there to Edenvale. They will be playing the winner of Belgravia and Linwood. And at this stage, Linwood are 18-10 up with 2 ends to play.
Belgravia lying 1. They need more than that.
That's good. Well done. Right foot, right?
Yeah, another full head. And the Kempton Park side, both Cyril and Grant George really have fallen apart on the long heads. I think it was a really good tactic from Brendan. They early on they tried to bring the mat up, and it didn't work because Andre Rousseau lost the jack. The next end, Brendan told his pairs partner Andre Rousseau to take the mat back on the 2 meter mark and go T to T, and since then they haven't looked back. It scored 4 consecutive heads in a row now. So that was a good tactic from Brendan. Good skipping that.
And changing the lead.
Changing the lead's hand, yes. Well, the Belgravia skip has just given the shot away now to
Kom on.
Linwood.
White is baie goed.
The Belgravia skip has now got 1 bowl left. If she does not get the shot with this bowl, it is the end of the game.
She needs 2, in fact, probably.
White is weer goed.
Oh,
She's
went
missed
through
it,
the
so that is the end of the game.
Volgende een is in die middel.
Linwood are still playing their last bowl, but the game is finished. Don't know why she's playing her last bowl. They are now 9 shots up with 1 head to play, but the skipper is still playing her last bowl.
Come on. You're always spot on, eh?
And the Linwood skipper looks like she's actually given the shot away with her last bowl. I really do not know why she played her last bowl.
It doesn't really make a difference, Bob, because it's still 7 that
She actually
different.
gave the shot away with the last, which means that there are 7 up playing the last. So that is the end of the game.
It's the end of the game.
Why is it so low?
I don't know why they think they need
I
to
don't know
carry
why
on.
the ladies are playing the last head. The game is finished.
Come on. Come on.
They've decided they're going to play the last head anyway.
The meet in front.
But congratulations to Linwood, who will meet Edenvale in the final. That's Marty Teron and Missy Murray. We're playing Jenny Jones, Gardner in the final. In the men's final, Niksha Ben-Gurik had a
Hold tight,
comfortable
that
win
ball.
against Mike O'Connor. They didn't play the last 2 ends in that game. But congratulations to Niksha, she's had an incredible season. And it looks like they're going to be playing against their club mates, Brendan Ferns in the final. Brendan Ferns and Andre Rousseau, who are now at 19-12 up, 2 ends to play. And Sarl's walking up very, very slowly to the head.
I'm sure he can't wait to get off the green.
Yeah, it's been a battle for him. He started off very, very well. He had the upper hand on Andre, but the last few heads, he just fallen away.
Brendan on fire, now got his tail
Brendan
up.
will just be looking to consolidate. He doesn't want to give away more than a 1. He's actually picked up the jack when he's given the shot away, but it's not serious. It's only 1 shot down. Can afford to drop a 1 or a 2 this head.
Thanks to our
Grant
sponsors.
George needs at least a 3 or a 4 this head to keep him in the game. Well, he's drawn another, that's 2.
And once again, thanks to our sponsors, Academy and Perfect Delivery. Seems to be playing with a little bit of weight. No, it's not
Well,
good.
Brendan got a bit fortunate there. I think he turned the side ball in for second shot.
That's what happens when you're winning, Bob.
Yeah, I think it'd go for you.
If it was a-
Grant George hasn't sent that ball. Again, he's looking at his leg. I think his leg is really bothering him the last couple of ends. He's looking at his hand now as well. He hasn't played well on the long ends at all, Grant George. Something he's have to look at in the future. He wants to be a top player. He needs to start. Players will pick that up very, very quickly.
yeah.
That he doesn't enjoy his long heads.
He likes it. He's watching it
Oh, Brandon
intently.
Evans, Brandon Ferns. He is
Right.
trying very hard to actually draw the shot here. Well, he just slipped through.
What a great shot.
It's only 1 down. And I think they'll be very content to drop a 1 this head, which means there will be 6 up playing the last.
Have to get another
Which
second
means
shot.
that Grant George will need a full house 6 on the last head to get a peel.
So we'll be bringing you live the men's singles final between Manning and Jason Evans. So stay tuned. We'll bring you that game at about 11:30.
Thought that they've actually shaken hands. Ferns and Andre Rousseau. They were down in the game. They did change the tactics. They went to the long edge. They changed their hand. They started to dominate. Great champion pair. You can see they've got a lot of experience playing together. So congratulations to Brendan and Andre Rousseau, who will meet Niksha Ben-Gurik in the final. So it's all Wingate Park final. Niksha Ferry and Peter Ferry.
Or women's Wingate final pair singles. So
Yes,
well done to Wingate.
Wingate have done incredibly well. The hosting has been very good. And I would just like to pay tribute to the Bowls Gauteng North. They've done exceptionally well, and you can see the amount of young players that are coming through in BGN. Past 3 or 4 weeks that we have been playing in this tournament, we've come across some very, very young bowlers, up and coming stars from BGN. I think it's a. They've actually set a.
Precedent and a good.
Yes, they've certainly taken the bull by the horns and taken youngsters, and apparently they've got academies going, young players coming through, especially here at Wingate Park. They've got some great young players playing here. Other clubs as well. We played against some young players this week, and it's really refreshing to see. So congratulations to BGN. Your marketing has been very good, your development has been very good, and I think it's something other districts can strive to reach your levels. Congratulations to Bowls Gauteng North. That's all our fives there, all the Wingate Park boys, Niksha Bengurik and club mates Paul Ferns. Should be a great final. Both skips are playing good bowls. So looking forward to that final, but as we said, we will be streaming the men's singles final, Jason Evans versus Bruce Manning.
And stay tuned.
So there'll be quite a few BGN Wingate Park players playing in the final, but all ladies final in the singles, all men's final in the pairs, and a player in the final of the singles, men's singles as well. Congratulations to Wingate Park. Incredible tournament.
Thanks, Bob, for joining us this morning, and it's been great fun. And stay tuned. We'll be back with you in the next 20 minutes or so.